Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 9 Frames podcast. This is episode 57, and it is Monday, December 4th, 2023. I'm Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
Be sure to catch us, as always, on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames. Our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on there. Like and subscribe, comment, and share if you like the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and we're going to continue to roll on in the MLB offseason as we're getting closer and closer to the Christmas season.
Yeah, it was a fun little weekend of news that we will get into shortly, and then we will keep it rolling as we move on to winter meetings coming up very soon.
I think they start today.
Are they today? I knew it was this week. Yeah, if they're today,
I believe it starts today.
Hot stove should start sizzling, folks. Let's lock in. And get into the news of the weekend now that we can confirm winter meetings are rolling on starting yesterday. Ohtani's decision is expected this week. That's what the report says. So making his decision on winter meeting week, interesting.
Yeah, and as I said, I mean, like a lot of the time is that these big name free agents want to know where they're going to play next year before Christmas and whatever holiday they celebrate approaches, because it takes a little bit of stress away. And
yeah, this would get him signed well before that.
I'm a little bit surprised that Ohtani is, given how big of a contract he's going to get, because we've heard that, I mean, there are offers that are already over $500 million.
And the wording on that is well over $500. So whatever that means could be $50 million.
Do you think we could see a 6 in front of it?
It's possible. I've seen people on Twitter saying that they'd be willing to give it to him, which is crazy, man.
I don't know. That's a lot of money for one human, man.
I've seen people saying something along the lines of 12 years and giving in the 600 ballpark. I think what it would be like 55 a year. It's extreme, but...
Yeah, see, like, I love the guy. I know he's great, but, like, if I'm, like, personally speaking, like, as a Mets fan even, like, as a fan of a team, I'm passing on that. That could be crippling.
Sounds like the Mets are passing on that, as the race kind of boils down to this that's what reporters are saying.
Yeah, you never know.
Seems to be the favorites as of right now are the Los Angeles Dodgers. Then we got the San Francisco Giants, the Chicago Cubs, the hometown Los Angeles Angels if he returns there, Toronto Blue Jays, who are very active in this offseason so far. Their name is in a lot of hats. And apparently, as of this morning, the Atlanta Braves cannot be counted out on Ohtani.
Yeah, I think you could say that for a couple different teams, though. Like, I don't know if you could count the Mets out until it's over. I don't know if you should count the Yankees out until it's over.
Well, it sounds like people are, and these are the same people who are saying don't count out Atlanta.
It's because teams like the Mets have indicated they're going a different direction. And it might be because of how expensive Ohtani told them how much money he wants.
I mean, it's going to be about $600.
What do they want? They can't do that.
That is a hefty price for any team to pay.
Out of the teams that you just listed, though, I think the coolest spot for him to land would be the Blue Jays. Honestly.
Blue Jays would be awesome.
That would be cool.
It seemed so unlikely until these last couple of weeks, and now it really kind of sounds like a match made in heaven. Imagine pairing Ohtani with Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr.
And they're also interested in Juan Soto. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I saw... Morosi said that it's most likely, like, it's not going to happen that they get both of them.
Yeah,
but
one or the other.
They could get one of them, which is pretty insane because we didn't even think about the Toronto Blue Jays as a spot for Ohtani. Yeah. And then Juan Soto as well, man. That's a couple star players.
That would be a stacked squad if they get either of those guys. And speaking of stacked squads, speaking of insane, if Atlanta ends up getting Ohtani, they are pairing the current AL MVP with the current NL MVP in two of the most historic and dominant seasons we've seen.
Yeah, and I mean, he's just going to slot in as a DH next year, so it's just going to add about 45 to 50 home runs for a Braves lineup if he was to... Oh my God! I can't even picture it. I don't want to.
That team up would be terrifying for the league, and I think maybe that is part of the selling point to Ohtani. We'll have to see where he ends up going, but it seems like it's this week.
He said, like we talked about, that one of his goals was to win the World Series, man, and then we also heard that he might take a short-term deal. So the Braves could give him like a 3-year deal for like a lot of money just to cash in on a couple championships potentially, with their window being so open right now.
No reason they can't get those.
It could definitely happen, and I think it would be very scary. I mean, I don't know who the hell is going to beat them if you add Shohei Ohtani to that Braves team.
Yeah, I mean, that's a team that has already been dominating the NL East for what feels like forever.
15 years.
Yeah, and this is only going to continue that, so keep your eye out. It seems like the Ohtani decision is imminent this week.
Yeah, we'll probably be reporting on it this week.
Very true. Moving it on over to a big free agent, posting finally a Korean free agent instead of all the Japanese free agents this year. We have Jung-Ho Lee will be posted today. He's a center fielder,
Dude's a stud.
mainly a center fielder out there, plays the whole outfield really, really well. He's got a 30-day window. I'm not sure if that's because he's a Korean free agent
Yeah,
and
it
that's
must
their
be.
window.
It must be the league difference.
That'll begin at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and it's very interesting. This is a guy with a lot of personality. He is the son of former KBO League MVP Lee Jong-boom. He is nicknamed the Son of the Wind, so they call Lee Jung-hoo or Jung-Hoo Lee. They say their names like that. So he is the grandson of the Wind. Pretty sick, man. Pretty sick.
I mean, his numbers, too. He's got, in 7 seasons, you got to remember, keep in mind, he's 25 years old.
Yeah, man.
And he's played 7 years. That means he's been playing since he was 18. He's got 5 gold gloves, which is insane. 5 in 7 years is insane. He won the Rookie of the Year in 2017, won the MVP in 2022. He's hitting .340 in 7 years with a nearly 900 OPS, 898 to be exact, and 515 RBI.
Yeah, those numbers and those accolades, they jump off the page for a 25-year-old. Like I said, his father was a former KBO MVP. He adds that to his own mantle in 2022, and now he feels like he's ready to make the leap to the MLB, man. 900 OPS, he's got power to boot. This is a guy who could really make a difference next year. A center fielder.
Yeah, and another guy where it's like, it'll be interesting to see what his contract looks like coming over here, because how do you even value somebody with those numbers in the Korean League compared to the major leagues?
It's hard. If you have a great scouting department, maybe they are well aware of the talent in Korea and they can scale it like that. I'm not sure, but we're going to have to see it because a 30-day window is short, man.
Yeah.
By January 5th, he'll have to be signed.
That means he has to sign at least, no later than...
January 5th.
But I'm saying Yamamoto is what, the second?
Oh, yeah, it'll be
So,
around the same time, yeah.
If they both go the distance, they could be signing around the same day.
Yeah, and with winter meetings being this week, man, people could be jumping off the page.
Or it could go that direction where they might not make it nearly to the maximum window time frame and just sign this week. Who knows?
Yeah, we will see. A more big talks, particularly coming from Toronto, man. The Blue Jays are talking to San Diego on Juan Soto. Like you said, they seem like they're going to really go all in on getting one of those two players between Ohtani and Soto.
Yeah.
They seem to be the front runners as of right now, as talks have stalemated between the Yankees and San Diego.
It's really going to come down to if the Blue Jays are willing to give up what the Yankees aren't willing to give up. And if they are, man, I don't know why the Yankees aren't willing to give it up. Let me explain something. Dude, because... I don't understand the infatuation with prospects. I understand they can come up and be great.
They could.
We know Juan Soto's great.
Definitely.
You know that he's going to
And
hit.
he's still only 25, man. He's basically a prospect age. A lot of these prospects are around as old as him, and he's been down.
I mean, it's so the guy's got 4 Silver Sluggers already at 25 years old. He's a perennial all-star. He's a franchise cornerstone. You can't, if you're the Yankees, you cannot be saying, oh, you know what? We don't want to give up Drew Gilbert and Michael King for Juan Soto.
Well, it sounds like...
Drive them to the airport.
But it sounds like they wanted Jason Dominguez and Anthony Volpe, too.
No, I think they said that they're out of conversation.
Oh, were they out of conversation? Oh, and it's still
They didn't want to give up Michael King and Drew, or not Drew, I forgot what his name was. Yeah, there was a top prospect for them that they don't want to give up, but it's not even like their top echelon. It's not Dominguez. It's not Volpe. I don't even know if it was Clark Schmidt, to be honest with you.
Interesting.
And they still said no because it was like a 7-for-2 deal because the Padres would have been sending Trent Grisham back with Soto.
Not bad, man. Grisham's got some versatility as well.
The Yankees too, who need outfield depth and
true.
defense. I mean, it would be you'd be getting 2 outfielders.
Yeah, the way when you put it like that, it really adds up. Their outfielders have been getting banged up between Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Those big guys have been getting hurt. Even Cashman himself.
Didn't you just say that Juan Soto played every single game this year?
162 games this year.
You should probably give up what they're asking for him and sign him to a fat extension and have him playing for your team for the next 12 years.
Yeah, if I'm the Blue Jays, I am doing whatever I can do.
That's what I'm
to
saying,
get that
dude.
guy in my jersey.
If they just swoop in. And it's a division rival, too. They're going to take him from a division rival. That they could potentially go from having to face Juan Soto for the next 10 years to having him on their team. I mean, that's a large difference.
It
just
is
because
a huge flip. I'm surprised we're not hearing Baltimore more in on this, but with those comments their GM made about payroll this year, I guess maybe they're out on that. Yeah. But if Toronto's going to make that pitch and go for it, man, think about that group. We said it with Ohtani before, but if you're pairing Soto with young guys like Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr., that is a core.
Yeah, and the Jays already made the playoffs this year, if you'll remember. I mean, they lost to the Twins. They broke that playoff drought, the Twins, this year by beating them, but they still did make the playoffs. They're usually around the playoffs since Vlad and Bo Bichette and all of them have made their debuts. They've been a contender to at least make the wild card, especially with an extra one now. So if they add Juan Soto, man, they're going to be scary because they already got Gosman, Barrios. They got guys in the rotation that are going to be there. So
yeah, it should be a really good and really fun group to watch. And if they're as active as it sounds like they're going to be, man, they're only getting better from here.
Yeah, they'll be a really, really interesting club to watch in the offseason in general with how active they appear to be in upper echelon free agents and potential trade partners.
Keep your eye on those Jays. Now we are moving it on over to Cooperstown. This one, I'm not going to act like I know a lot about this panel and this voting committee. I'm not sure if you do. The Contemporary Baseball Era Committee. Sounds like 16 people were voting, and you needed 75% of them to vote. They had very reputable voters. So, I mean, the ballot included Cito Gaston, Davey Johnson, Jim Leyland, Ed Montag, Hank Peters, Lou Piniella, Joe West, and Bill White. So 4 managers, 2 executives, and 2 umpires. Only one got in, though.
Yep, it will be Jim Leyland, who, I mean, is very, very well-deserving. But to respond to what you said before, I do not know anything about the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee.
So, I mean, this is a deserving nomination, absolutely, and Jim Leyland will be headed to Cooperstown.
The only thing I did see that was a little bit jarring is that they showed a picture of the room of these guys. They're all just, like, super old white guys.
Yeah.
Let's get some diversity and, like,
the Contemporary Era Baseball Hall of Fame. I guess that makes sense. I don't know who else would be voting on that one.
I wonder how you get in there and, like, what's the requirements and, like, how long does, because it looked like those guys have been there for a while.
And it sounds like Lou Piniella, he missed the vote by just 1 vote or something like that is what came out. But yeah, Jim Leyland comes in. He's been in baseball since the 1970s. He led the Marlins to the 1997 World Series championship. Very solid there. He's known for coaching for the Pirates and most notably recently for the Detroit Tigers. Congratulations to Jim Leyland. He will be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's the last one that took the Tigers to the World Series back in 2012 when they got swept by the Giants. So, yeah, he's very well deserving. I mean, he's a baseball legend.
Now, when you say those names, though, there are a couple guys there that you can't really think about baseball, like Lou Piniella and even Joe West. I know he's an umpire, but he's all over some of the most incredible moments we've seen in baseball.
Yeah, very true.
But only Jim Leyland gets in, just further cementing that the Baseball Hall of Fame is a really phenomenal Hall of Fame.
Very tough to get in, and you got to be very deserving. And he was. Also, not to forget that he's managed Team USA as well. So Jim Leyland's done it all.
Yeah, he won it with Team USA, didn't he? Just the last one before
against
this
Puerto
one.
Rico. Yeah,
very impressive career. Congratulations to Jim Leyland. More deserving. There is no one more deserving of getting into Cooperstown than him. We will move it on over to what was a nice little deal for the Dodgers, similar to that Jason Hayward deal it reminds me of. They bring back their guy. Joe Kelly comes back to the Dodgers. They just turned down his $9.5 million option, and they end up signing him back on a 1-year, $8 million option.
Got him for a little bit cheaper.
They get $1.5 million off, and I think Joe Kelly and the Dodgers is a match made in heaven, and I think it makes sense to keep him here.
Yeah, he's had some of his best seasons for the Dodgers. I mean, he was a real threat. Remember the beef with him and Correa back in the day? So it'll be nice to see him because he got traded back there last year with Lance Lynn. So it'll be nice to see him have a full season and see if he can put it back together like he was last time he was there.
Yeah, this is a guy coming off a couple seasons in a row with a negative WAR, but he did have a positive WAR with the Dodgers since coming there. So if he has another solid campaign, we will have to see. He's the type of guy that the Dodgers should have in their bullpen, in my opinion. Moving on over to a trade that occurred last night. The Atlanta Braves acquire outfielder Jared Kelenic, infielder Evan White, and pitcher Marco Gonzalez from the Mariners for 2 young righties, Jackson Kowar and Cole Phillips. I see this as more of a salary shedder.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know. It seems like more of giving up. This is, like we said on last episode about Jackson Chourio, Evan White is one of those guys who got a long deal before he ever made it to the majors, and here he goes to Atlanta.
Yeah, and he did make it to the majors for the Mariners. He won a Gold Glove in 2020 in the shortened season, like we said. So he's a phenomenal defender. Hasn't really been able to piece it in together when he's in the box, but he'll be moving on over to Atlanta with Kelenic, who's already been traded, we know, for Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano all those years ago.
Had a decent campaign last year as well, finally getting his feet under him.
Yeah, and all I'm going to say is that we're going to jump back to what we were talking about with Toronto. I mean, there's a guy named Juan Soto out there, and the Mariners, they've got a spot.
Yeah, I mean, the news is that this salary shed could be because they're loading up to add a big stick or two.
That's a big one.
No stick bigger than Juan Soto. Pause on that. But, I mean, you got to bring the guy in. 162 games of greatness.
That's wild.
162 games of greatness. Let's get him in navy blue and teal. Let's get him to the Mariners.
That would be a fun team for him to join as well. I mean, they were right there. We covered it. I mean, they were right in the thick of things until the very end of the season.
Debatably one of the 2 most disappointing ends to the season. Them and the Cubs. They could not have been closer, but just out of their reach.
So I mean, who's to say? I mean, Juan Soto can add. Well, I mean, what was his WAR? It's got to be like around 5 or 6. I mean, so he's going to add 6 wins. They would make the playoffs, no?
Yeah, they would. In that hypothetical, they definitely would. And I do like this deal for the Braves as well. They're the type of guys that they can remold. Jared Kelenic is on the come up. Evan White, we know, is a great fielder, and Marco Gonzalez, a solid lefty pitcher. So we'll see what they do. Jackson Kowar only has 60 to 70 innings, has struggled through that, and Cole Phillips is going to rookie ball. So
yeah, still young.
Not much about who they are getting back right now, but getting that money off the books and trying to make a deal for a big stick or two. I like it.
Yeah, and if they don't decide to go for Soto, or if Soto does go somewhere else, there has been discussions with Tampa Bay about Randy Arozarena potentially, and maybe Isaac Paredes going to Seattle. I mean, they've got spots for both of them now. They just traded Suarez away, so they need a third baseman, Paredes.
Yeah, Paredes is coming off a season where he had 31 homers and RBIs in the 90s.
98.
Let's break that down now, because they are talking, Seattle and Tampa Bay, about these players. Paredes is under arbitration until after the 2027 season. He's only expected to make about $4 million next year. That's a bargain.
Yeah, see, I don't know why the Rays would do something like that unless they know something's up. But what could possibly be up with a guy that just had 31 and 98 and was a first-time All-Star? It doesn't make a lot of sense.
He was up there for utility, too. So, I mean, he's a very versatile guy to have on the team.
I thought he should have won the utility Silver Slugger.
Same. You can't go wrong with Isaac Paredes on your team, and seems like the Rays are looking to move him, Glasnow, and maybe Arozarena this offseason.
And Arozarena is even more puzzling because that's an MVP candidate type player, and he's under contract until after 2026 at about $9 to $10 million a year, bro. I mean,
only 1 year less than Paredes on that one, but he is about double as much. He's under arbitration, so it could go up over the years. I like both of these acquisitions for Seattle. If you can get either of these guys, and I think they'd fit in there.
Hey, who knows? Maybe package and get both of them.
It could be
Depends
really
on how much the Mariners are willing to give up in a trade. But
what better time for a blockbuster, even possibly including both of them, than winter meetings?
But like I always say, man, teams got to be very, very careful when navigating trades with the Tampa Bay Rays because they have a history of not losing those trades in the end.
Very, very true. The Rays known for being great traders. So are the Braves, and they acquire too. So that's who Seattle's talking to. The Braves and the Rays, not great teams to be trading with.
I mean, we gave the example of the Rays trade with the Pirates when they got Glasnow and Austin Meadows. To get Isaac Paredes, they traded Austin Meadows to Detroit. So,
And now they're looking to flip Glasnow as well, who was also part of that deal. I mean, they are really just a machine, and they never stop.
It's almost like they're like, we've gotten our use out of you. We're going to replace you with somebody that we think is going to be better for us now. It's really crazy how sustainable their success has been with the way that they operate. Genuinely.
Yeah, for sure. They are not that big payroll team, but nonetheless always successful. This was a fun episode, everyone. Starting off the winter meetings, we have some Ohtani news that was huge. Jung-Ho Lee has been posted from Korea. The Blue Jays could not be more active right now. Jim Leyland to the Hall of Fame. Some trade talks going on, so
And a trade being made.
For real, it is sizzling right now. The hot stove is cooking. Should be interesting to see what happens this week.
Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be the week where we start to get a little more traction with rumors and maybe even signings. Honestly, I mean, this is a big week for baseball because everybody is together and able to negotiate a lot more easier than if they were in different parts of the country. So. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure.
And word on the street is that Ohtani decision is expected this week. So
looming,
the biggest signing in professional sports history. Well, probably not because of soccer. Soccer might have it beat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, soccer's got it beat because they're insane.
Yeah.
North American sports history.
I was going to say, let me introduce you to Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, this is going to be the biggest signing in North American sports history.
That's
and
for sure.
It seems like it's going to happen this week, so we'll keep our eye on it.
And it seems like it's going to shatter that record.
Yeah, it will.
I don't think anybody touched 5 yet, and he's going to be up over 5.
Close to 6, possibly. So thank you to everyone for watching and listening. That was episode 57 of the 9 Frames podcast. I've been Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
Catch us, as always, on 9 Frames podcast on YouTube. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on X, subscribe on YouTube, like, comment, and share with your friends if you've enjoyed the show.
Yeah, and I say it every time. We appreciate all the support that we've gotten thus far, and we hope that it continues to improve as we go.
It seems like big news is coming this week, and we will bring it to you as soon as we know it.
We'll see you guys on Wednesday.